So this is why it takes modern producers so long to do things because the tools are so vastly incredible. This is the MXXX, and I wanted to stack a bunch of sounds. I'm playing with a concept called combiner, where you have basically a stack of sounds that'll work together and make like a one perfect ultimate sound. So I'm using MXXX to house many synths at once. So let me see if I can nudge this a little bit. A little tricky here. So I opened up what's called a modular, like I guess, insert, and this is modular 16, and they go up to 32. In fact, I can show you that. So you have these choices of modular, modular 16, modular 32, and modular EX. And what that is basically it creates a gigantic like sandbox plug-in rack, depending on how many you want. And so anyways, long story short, I set up, what do we have here? 7 power synths. And I just wanted to try to see if I could have, this feature being used as a sandbox sort of layering tool. So anyways, I have only done 7, but you can actually, of course, do up to 16. And does it work? Let's see. So you're hearing a couple different things there. You're hearing these 7 sounds, but you're also hearing this thing. So if I disable that, you're not going to hear anything because I have it running through Morph. But if I were to change the ratio in Morph, you're going to hear just that, or you're going to hear the other sound, which is the stack of synths. Now, where is the beauty part? Is right here. So we have a completely new spectralized sound that is blending in one main sound over here and one combination of synths. So in this example, I used Power Synth, but of course you have many options here. You could use the Sound Factory, or you could use other options to generate tone, like the noise generator, the M-drummer, various tools to create like your sound palette to work with. And the thing with M Sound Factory, I'll show you real quickly, is when we choose that as a rack, we actually open up a bunch of different things. For one, we open up the capability to load all these cool sounds really quickly. But for 2, we open up the capability to add even additional blocks of sound. So with the M Sound Factory, you can actually design sounds from scratch. So we actually have the ability to use these things called the generators. And so we have all of these options for bass synthesis, okay? So we can add additive synthesis, FM synthesis, drum synthesis, string synthesis, wavetable synthesis, granular sampling, impulse training synthesis, whatever that is, oscillators. And so we would do that, and we have all these options right here to do that. So in other words, you're not only getting the capability to create these various instances up to 16 in this example, or up to 32 when you use the modular 16. So, but what's cool is, using the Morph, I'm able to then take like my 32 sounds, which is over here, but that's, in this instance, I'm just using like those 7 instances, or I can go all the way over again and just have this other basic synth sound. So in that way, you can kind of have a control over this bleeding factor. We're in a new era, that's for sure, using tools like this. I have to say this is the most powerful synthesizer I've ever seen in my life. The MXXX as a synth, basically. And you can actually do similar things like within M Sound Factory, but I don't want this video to really drag on. So, but what else is cool is I have one modular rec. I can have a second one, and I can have a third one, and I can have a fourth one, and so it's mind-bogglingly complex. I'm sorry, I'm kind of tired. But also I want to show the CPU footprint. Now, that's because the Empower Synth is super efficient. Now, if I was using some things that are like sample-based, it might change a little bit. But what I found also cool about this is that you can use the Amorph, and it doesn't have like super delay on the latency. So that's also super helpful. Now, again, if you use more heavier samplers or whatever, you might have a bit of a delay. But that's very convenient because one of the things that makes it less likely to be used is the latency. But it's such a cool plugin, the Amorph is, that you really want to be able to utilize it. So one more thing I'll say is that you can control the dry signals once you have all this up and running. Oh, so what the trick is to get this up and running is when you have a module like this, make sure you enable the input for MIDI, because if you don't do that, nothing happens on your module, and it actually freaking blocks the other one too. So once you enable that, you have a pass through. All right, incredible plugin to say the least. And so what that means though is every single one of these, you have the capability to edit all the sounds inside of it. Each one of those has an effects rack inside of it. You can go deeper and have, M Sound Factory style sounds, so they're much more complex. They're pre-made sounds, or you can design them yourself from scratch like I showed you. And of course you can have several instances of those 1632 versions of the modular system. Incredible, man. I could never get to it all.